Those of the speakers and the host, and do not necessarily reflect those of Yoakley Scott Corporation and your sports network.
Yeah, I've been closer to Jesus before, so can you help me out? Oh, can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Am I on my own? Am I on my own? Or can you help me out? Can you help me out? I've been scared to look in my soul. I've been afraid I would follow the road. Yeah, afraid of the things I've been told.
Hello, everybody. Welcome inside a Thursday episode of Running Point on ysnlive.com. As always, brought to you by our good friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. They go the extra mile for you, and we always try to do the same here on Running Point and at YSN. We have a great show for you today. It's a Thursday, which means we have a great show. We always have a great show on Thursday, right? Thursday's the day you'll mark your calendars for Running Point. I don't know. I've never had an amazing Thursday. I just ran myself into a corner there and had to get out of it. But we do have a good show for you today, despite that awful dismount right there. John Matese, the head coach of the Springfield Tigers, will be joining us at 1:15. And then after him, we're going to play a pre-recorded interview with Tigers senior J.C. Mullen. So it's a day for you Springfield fans. We hope you enjoy it. It's senior night tonight, so it's perfect timing for the Tigers as they celebrate their four seniors. And we're going to hear from one of them today and their head coach. Hope to hear from the other three seniors at some point in the season as well. Emily Gerthing, Peyton Clem, and then, of course, Maddie Lesnick and today's guest, J.C. Mullen. So it's going to be a good show, and we have that to look forward to. 1:15, John Matese, and then we'll probably take a commercial break, come back with J.C. Mullen after that for today's show. But before we get to Coach, we have to recap the action of last night. It was a great Wednesday on the network. We had some big finals that had league implications, and we'll start down with Howland as they had a non-league game. 60-46, they get the win over East. And Howland is starting to – I think they had a tough start of the week last week. You know, the Fitch game, maybe a little bit of a wake-up call, maybe a little bit of a turning point, because since then their offense has been a little bit more balanced. They're starting to score a little bit more. They're starting to not sit and watch Alyssa Masucci and just, play that watch game that we've talked about before, what the teams tend to do with really talented players. And they're playing better defense as of late as well. So they get another win over their belt. And East is we've said it, East is a hard team to beat. 60-46, Howland gets the win. West Branch has a dramatic fourth quarter comeback. 53-45, they get the win over Alliance. They outscored the Aviators 19-4 in the fourth quarter to get the win. So a furious rally from the Warriors gets them a big EBC win against one of the top tier teams in the EBC. Salem, they're cruising right along. They get a conference win over Carrollton, 53-37, the final score there. Brooke Heron and the Leopards bounced back from last week's loss to Glen Oak. They beat Canton Central Catholic last night, 62-49. Brooke Heron scored 25 points in that game for the Leopards. A big performance from the junior and one of the stars of Louisville. Not the only one, but one of the stars from Louisville. How about Ursuline? They had no problems, welcoming in Akron St. Vincent St. Mary. They knew it was going to be a tough game. They didn't shy away from it at all. But Akron St. Vincent St. Mary did flex their muscles a little bit and win 61-27. But this is one of those games that is kind of, we've talked about it. It's a win-win. It absolutely does nothing bad to Ursuline to lose this game, unless it has a bad effect on morale, which with Coach Bernard Scott, don't think it will. He does a great job keeping morale up. Remember, they had a really tough start to the season. And they weren't really looking like themselves the first couple weeks of the year. And that didn't lose their morale at all. So I don't think this one loss in the middle of a big win streak is going to affect Ursulin's morale with Coach Scott and his leadership. But what it did do is it exposed them to an extremely high level of basketball. It kind of probably showed a bunch of things that they can work on. It showed them some things that they can get better at. They turned the ball over way too much last night, so they're probably going to work on ball security and taking care of the basketball. And those things are going to pay dividends down the road. So I think a very smart choice by Ursuline to have this game last night. And despite the loss, it might be one of those ones that you look at the end of the season and say, that game was an important game for Ursuline if they make a tournament run. And we'll see what the Irish can do. A big one in the AAC in Boardman. And Canfield and Boardman finally got together. It's been a long time coming, and it was a 54-44 win for the Cardinals to claim the top spot in the AAC by themselves. These two teams were tied with undefeated records in the AAC. But Canfield gets the win. They now have the top spot. That is until, these two teams will meet again at some point. And when they do, if they can keep pace with each other, it'll be another first place game. You look at the way this game went down. It was a big first half for the Cardinals that did it. They were led by Kate Solly and Cammie Dill, who both were able to really, find success in the game. Canfield led 23-8 after one quarter. So they really kind of set the tone. Kate Solly and Cammie Dill both had 14 points in the night for Canfield. And then Jenna Treveri, who's up for Baird Brothers Big Dog of the Valley, added 9. Spartans were led by Mackenzie Riccatelli and Tia Trevera, who both scored 15 points. And Treveri had 3 3-pointers in the second half to kind of get to that 15. Cardinals are 14-1 in the season. They have Austintown Fitch on Saturday night. Spartans will host Howland on Saturday afternoon. So both teams have other AAC games ahead, and they're going to be tough ones. Fitch is a little bit different since the last time the Canfield saw them, that's for sure. They're on a roll. And then Howland, like we said, starting to play a little bit better. We saw them with the win last night. So not an easy game for either team, as Boardman tries to keep pace now with Canfield, and Canfield tries to keep that top spot in the AAC. We have other scores for you there, as Southern was able to get the win over East Liverpool, 47-38, the final score there for the Indians. Orange, with one of the most competitive games of the night, they played against Warren Harding and lost by 5, 57-52. Tough one for Orange, but that's a small school going up to a rather big school and playing pretty darn well. So that's I don't hate to beat the dead horse, but that's a game where it does not affect Orange in the slightest negatively to lose that game. As far as tournament and getting in and all that kind of stuff, non-conference. But what it does, man, that's got to be a big morale boost to say we went to a decent D1 team and we really competed the whole night, 57-52. Probably the most competitive game that we saw on the network last night. And the closest, well, it's tied for it is the closest final score margin there. It was Fitch and them. Fitch ended up winning by 7. So this won a 5-point game. But that's got to be a big morale boost for this Orange team. I know they're kind of teetering on that 500 mark, but going forward, this has got to be one of those momentum building losses, if there is such a thing, for Orange. Speaking of Fitch, who will play Canfield on Saturday night, they got the win over Minter, 58-51, the final score there. So those are your scores for the night last night. Not a incredibly busy night like most Wednesdays are, but a couple of conferences play their conference games on Wednesday. And like I said, there was that big one down in Boardman with Canfield and Boardman. Canfield getting the win there. And when you look at a 14-1 Canfield team that sits at the top of the power rankings right now, it's one of the reasons why everyone's so impressed with them. You look at their RPI and the strength of schedule, especially in the state. They are currently sitting at 3rd in Division II in the whole state of Ohio as far as strength of schedule. And they're 14-1. How can you argue that? I mean, that's a really, really, really good resume. And the one loss though is Salem. So Salem's sitting there like 1-2 right now in the power rankings, and those are all RPI based, by the way, for those of you wondering the shift in power rankings this week, the top 25, completely RPI based, completely computer based. We had no voting, no announcers' opinions. It was all completely analytical and completely RPI based, but it's 1-2. And that's going to come into tournament time. What is Salem going to do? Because you got to imagine, I mean, if things keep trajectorying, is that even a word? If things stay on the right trajectory that they are right now, it'll be Canfield, Salem, and Marlington with the top 3 seeds. How those 3 teams are seeded, we don't know. It's all going to be down to how the coaches vote. But Marlington, Salem, and Canfield are going to be a top 3 seed, and who chooses where to go is going to be really interesting when we get to the D2 tournament. But now we have a special guest in the green room. We want to bring him in. It is Coach John Mattizi from Springfield. Let's bring him in and talk a little Springfield basketball. We were talking about D2. Let's get a little D4 action in here. Coach, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today on Running Point.
Yeah, no problem, Anthony. Thanks for having me.
Man, it was a long time coming. We've had to get you on. We've been wanting to get you on for a while. This Springfield Tigers team is just running so well so far this season. We talked to you in the back and before the beginning of the season about expectations and kind of what you saw out of this program and what you were expecting from this season. Now that we're past the halfway point, you guys are really strong and leading the MVAC Scarlet tier. How does where you are now compare to where you expected to be back when we talked to you preseason?
Yeah, I think we're right on schedule. It's been a really fun year. We've had some big wins. We've had some games really that, we're close, that are good non-conference, wins and losses for us to keep us focused. As you said, we're undefeated in the league. So that's really, goal number 1 this year was to win the league, going to Western Reserve and getting a win, going to Waterloo and getting a win. Really, I think that Waterloo game was probably as good as we've played all year. So to be able to do those things and, give us a leg up here as we head into the second half, like I said, we're right where we want to be.
I'm not going to sit here and ask you to recap the whole season. We'd be here forever if we talked about every game that you guys have played. But I do want to rewind back to that Waterloo game because that was the team that had your number last year, and I'm sure it meant a lot to this program to go down there and get a win. From your perspective, what was the big difference between this year and last year with both teams returning a ton of the players that played in last year's matchup?
I would say just the scoring across the board really this year is what allowed us to separate from them a little bit. Last year we really relied on JC to do a lot of the scoring. Maddie a little bit. That game up there, Anna had 13, Jamaica had 11. So to put that now with Jay, who had 12, Maddie scored, Ava hit a couple big shots. To be able to have that balance where, you really can't key on one girl, I think is the big difference, not only in that game, but all year.
When I was watching that game, one of the things that really stood out to me that is a little bit different from this year's team, the physicality that you guys brought into the paint and the way that you were able to dominate inside against the Waterloo and really against every team you play. How much has that been a really staple for you guys this year to try to be a lot more physical than maybe you were last year?
Yeah, well, we have the kids for it. We have the big bodies. We have the kids that we can, offensively play through the post, defensively try to funnel. We can get out and pressure because we have the size inside, try to funnel the ball handlers into our help, into our bigger kids under the basket, try to get blocks, try to get turnovers. So, I think, every year you take a look at your personnel and you try to figure out how you want to play. So this year that was kind of, I feel like, the style that fit us best. And we work on it every day. Post passing, post to post stuff, feed post. And it's, I think you look at Jamaica, like from day one till now, she's just incredible, for being a sophomore. Sometimes we have to remind ourselves that she's just a sophomore.
Yeah, I want to ask a little bit more about Jamaica because we see a really good development in her from last year to this year. What do you think have been some of the keys in her game that has made such a difference freshman year to sophomore year in her success?
hmm Just having the mindset, just to play. Last year she would I feel like mistakes bother her really a lot. And so now this year it's just, you make a mistake, you miss a shot. It doesn't matter. You just got to keep playing. She missed, there was, I don't know, last week, maybe a couple weeks ago, she missed a couple shots in practice and she was, I can't make anything, I'm not any good. And it's like, Jamaica, go home and look at the reports. You have the highest shooting percentage on the team. So it's, everybody misses shots. Just having that mindset that, when she's going good, man, we're very tough to stop.
All right, tonight is senior night, of course, for Springfield, and you have four good ones, and I'm sure you're going to be sad when it's the last time you get to pin their name in a lineup. What makes this senior class so important, and what makes them such good leaders for your program?
Well, they've been together since elementary school. When I was on the boys' side, and we're helping run the elementary tournament that they had at Springfield, and it's it was Coach Mullen, who's with us now, was coaching those teams. Maddie's dad was helping out with those teams, and so they were always, together. They were always having success early, and I feel like they've been able to stick together and now really step up and kind of lead this program into, a district title last year. Hopefully, if we accomplish our goals, same thing this year, maybe a league title. To have some success, and now we have a good group of sophomores, a group of freshmen that's getting better who can follow in their footsteps and really put, some good years together.
When we hear about, sustained programs that have been good for years, one of the things that we always hear is the seniors that leave an impact on the program after they leave. Do you see this senior class doing that this year, where you're confident that after they graduate, that kind of the standards they set and the legacy they leave on this program will last after they graduate?
Definitely. Just the work ethic, it's all the time where I'll be telling, one of our younger kids, hey, watch JC in this game. Watch how she rebounds. Watch how she does this or that. Or, watch Maddie. Watch how she shoots and handles the ball. And just to have those people in the program where you can say, hey, just go, go copy that, go do that, is, spectacular. And then, we had our two seniors from last year come to the game on Saturday. So it's the same thing. They came, they were there. It was fun to see them, and we still talk about them. So it's something where, every year is going to build on each other. And we've been lucky to have, good leadership with our seniors.
I want to kind of single all of them out and have you talk about all four of them and kind of give them like a little bit of hurrah like they're going to get tonight. Let's start with JC, since we're going to hear from her after your interview. We have a player profile to play after your interview. So JC's obviously one of the premier players in the area with how much she's able to score and succeed. But what have you seen from her as a leader and especially as a vocal leader this year? I feel like when I watch your games, she's a little bit more confident in her ability to speak this year than maybe in the past.
Yeah, definitely. And that's something that we've asked her to do. The kids look to her, they look to Maddie, they look to the other seniors to kind of lead them when, things get tough, when, maybe the other team's going on a run. It's up to the seniors to pull us out of it. And it's, just her work ethic really sets her apart from anybody that we see. She just never stops moving. She never stops trying to rebound. She never stops going at the basket. And she just, is relentless. And it's very, very tough to stop.
From an X's and O's standpoint, how blessed are you to have someone that can do the things that she can do on the basketball court?
Yeah, it's funny if we're trying to put something new in, or we're trying to come up with a new play or a new set, and we're talking just amongst the coaches, where do we put Jay? So we want her, we want her on the wing, we want her on the block, we want her, we want her in every spot if we could. So it just to have somebody that's versatile like that can step out and, she leads us in 3-point percentage. So she's, getting to the basket, she's offensive rebounding. We can throw it inside to where we can have her step out, and, we're very confident in her shooting. So to have someone you can just kind of stick in anywhere is, very, like you said, very valuable.
All right, let's talk about Maddie, who I think this year has taken a role of just a straight up ball handler, really distributing the ball. I would imagine, I don't have the stats in front of me, I'd imagine that she kind of leads the team in that assist to turnover ratio, and she takes care of the ball every time I'm able to watch her play. What has she meant as a stabling force to your offense this year?
Right. We didn't, with our roster, we really didn't have a true point guard. looking at last year's roster, maybe planning a little bit last year to go into this year. And so we're trying to figure out who, kind of a 2-year project, who we want to do it. And, we asked her to do it. She's kind of playing out of position, but she's really stepped up this year, to have, ask her to run the point. She's a little bigger, but just to be able to control the basketball much better this year than she has last year. I mean, there's games this year where we've been pressed the whole game. She just handles it. She put in the work this summer, to go from kind of where she was last year, trying to think of a couple of games where we were pressed and, we had to take her out because she wasn't, she couldn't be out there. And to the point now where, she's running the point for a team that's, first place in the league. And, it's just, a testament to her work ethic.
Kind of tall for a point guard, which is obviously a good thing. You don't see a lot of point guards that can have a height advantage over their defender too much in this area for this level of basketball. So that's going to be something that you're looking at down the road when you see teams in the tournament and you're thinking, how are they going to guard Maddie Lesnick as a point guard who is taller than most?
Right, exactly. Because we can, she can come in, she can step in too. So if it's something where, we feel like she has a mismatch inside, she still has all the post moves to where, we can step Jamaica out or JC out and then throw her down there. And like I said, when they're all playing well, it's really tough to guard all three.
Let's move on to Emily Gerthing, one of your seniors that is just an athlete. We see her, it seems like every sports season, making a name for herself. What does she bring to this team in this program?
I'll tell you, she's a tremendous teammate. She has probably the unenviable position of guarding JC every day in practice on the scout team. She's someone that's going to come in. She does her job. We just talked the other day. I feel bad. I feel like she'd probably start for a lot of the teams in our league. And, she's kind of on the scout team, kind of trying to get some time. But those kind of kids, I give them all the credit in the world these days. A lot of times you have freshmen and sophomores that they're not getting time and they just quit. So to see someone that can come in every day and just enjoys being around, her teammates, does her job, makes everybody around her better, is positive, is a good teammate, is, very rare. And it's very special to have her around.
Like you said, the unenviable position of having to guard JC in practice. What have you seen from that dynamic, though? How do they make each other better?
Well, Em's been around her since they were young, so she's not afraid to go at her. She's not afraid, go up and block a shot. She's not afraid to body her up a little bit, and that's what we need. There's sometimes we're in practice, and if we're going up against a JV or we're going up against the second team, and you maybe have a sophomore or freshman trying to guard her, they don't want to touch her, they don't want to be physical with her, which doesn't make her any better. So to have somebody that she can bang with every day and really sharpen her skills is, we couldn't ask for anything more from her.
And last but certainly not least, Peyton Clem, one of the seniors that you're going to honor tonight as well. Talk about her and what she brings to this program. Another great athlete that you have that seems like she pops up in every season.
Yeah, she's another one from last year to this year. It's just been tremendous progress. I think she's, started off this year kind of our 6th, 7th man. We didn't know where she was going to be. Season's gone on. She just earned more and more time. She's been able to come off the bench in a couple of these big games now and hit threes. Her defense has gotten to the point where we don't miss a beat when she's out there. So just to have for depth, she's another body coming off the bench. Now she's the first one coming off the bench, and to be able to not miss a beat when she's out there, I feel like, it's great for us.
As we talk about senior night, we ask every senior when we interview them how they handle the emotions of senior night and how they handle kind of how they feel on those nights and then go out and play basketball. I'm interested from a coach's perspective, what's it like trying to honor these seniors and trying to kind of roll through what you're feeling and what you're, I'm sure you're a little bit sad that you're winding down your time with them and then obviously having to refocus up and just focus on the basketball game. What's that like from the coach's perspective?
Yeah, definitely. It's not an easy thing just because, as a coach, you want to have that, straight line mindset. We're here to do a job. We have a game to play, but it's obviously not like that. You're there to honor the seniors. You're there to be in the moment to let everybody know the great job that they've done. So it's kind of let them have their time. They're obviously all going to start tonight and then just come out, use that emotion, hopefully for something positive to come out and get you going.
All right, before we let you go, I want to give you the chance to preview these next two games that we have this week for you. Obviously, Sebring comes to town for senior night tonight, and then you have a non-conference game with South Range on Saturday night. What do you see from one, Sebring, a league win that you have to go out and you have to take care of business, and then also preview a non-conference matchup with the South Range team, a little bit of an old school rivalry, bringing the Raiders into the jungle.
Yeah, Sebring, they were missing a couple of kids the first time we played them. So, I don't think it's going to be something where we can just come in and just go through the motions. They're going to play hard. They're going to, they're getting better as the year goes on. So we're going to have to come out and, reel it in from the senior night festivities and come out and play. Like you said, it's a league game. We can't take any of these league games for granted. And then South Range on Saturday, we're excited to have them back on the schedule. I wish we were playing them probably 4 or 6 weeks ago. It seems like they're playing pretty well now. They're beating some teams. They're playing some other good teams really tough. So it's going to be a game where, if they can impose their will, it's probably going to be a game in the 30s and 40s. We want to come out and run. We want to come out and maybe pressure a little bit. We want to try to get that score up there. But they're playing good. We have some really good non-conference games coming up here.
All right, Coach, thank you for the time today. Good luck in these next two games. We wish you the best of luck the rest of the way. We hope we get to talk to you again real soon as the season keeps going on for you guys.
All right, sounds good, Anthony. Thanks for having me.
Head coach John Mattesi from the Springfield girls basketball team, undefeated in the MVAC Scarlet tier so far and still holding that first place spot as we go into the second half of league play. They have Sebring tonight. It is senior night. Make sure you get down there, support all those 4 seniors that we just talked about, the great seniors that are leading that team. If you're a Springfield fan, then the jungle is the place to be tonight to really give your support to those 4 seniors. And then a big one on Saturday with South Range coming into the jungle, an old school rivalry to get some nostalgia going into the jungle on Saturday night. We're going to take a break. And when we come back from the commercial, we'll have more Springfield girls basketball interview because we have a pre-recorded talk with senior JC Mullen. So we're going to hear from her when we come back on Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown.
Before the lights come on, before the workday begins, before a long day is ended, or it's time to have fun, it all starts with the people at Joe Dickey Electric. From replacing a light fixture in your home to building a substation for your business, no job is too big or too small. The people of Joe Dickey Electric power them all. Joe Dickey Electric, over 60 years of powering the Mahoning Valley.
Why choose local? Because you live here, work here, learn here, relax here, and celebrate here. 21 WFMJ is our Valley's only locally owned TV station, and our focus is local. Other TV stations don't have that same focus, as their owners are somewhere else. But 21 WFMJ is rooted in the Valley. Local people making decisions that affect your life, right here where you live.
You're looking to your future, preparing for your goals, and they're closer than you think. Because here, success is part of the plan. It's a place where academic and social opportunities are meant to prepare you for life, not just the next 4 years. You'll be equipped to face new challenges and turn hard work into a career. You're ready for your success to take root. And here's where it starts. We are Youngstown State University, and proud.
Hi, this is Tommy Clem, owner of WRS Insurance Solutions.
WRS Insurance Solutions is a local independent agency that specializes in life, Medicare, long-term care, and disability products. Call us at 330-953-3722 or visit us at wrsinsuranceSolutions.com to learn more.
Good luck to all the student athletes in the Valley.
At Greenwood Chevrolet, we offer a worry-free experience for all our customers.
From sales to financing and even service,
We'll help build your perfect vehicle
and lock in your trade value
while your vehicle is being built.
No worries.
We guarantee financing,
regardless of your situation or credit history.
No worries. And when your vehicle needs service,
our award-winning team will get you back on the road.
No worries.
That's what going the extra mile means. Only at Greenwood Chevrolet.
Change. This one word can make you break out in a cold sweat. But with change comes wisdom, experience, and understanding. At Myers Family Insurance, we can help make changes in Medicare, insurance, and retirement a positive experience for you and your family. We've gone through changes, like our new office and new faces to help our family of clients too.
For all your Medicare needs, call Myers Family Insurance. Check us out online at myersfamilyins.com or find us on Facebook.
You're not waiting to see what the world has in store for you. It's more about what you have in store for the world. All you need is the opportunity. All you need are the resources of a large university and the advantages of a personalized academic setting where you can experience new worlds in the arts and sciences, business, and education and make them your own. We are where you shape your future. We are Youngstown State University and proud.
Hi, I'm Colin Chupa. And I'm Kelsey Clem from K-Squared Marketing. Our boutique marketing firm specializes in media planning and buying, public relations, event marketing strategies, and strategic sponsorships. We can integrate our services with your existing game plan, or we can be your entire marketing team. Your goals, our game plan. Let's win together. Call K-Squared Marketing at 330-623-2730 or visit ksquared.marketing to learn more.
Welcome back to Running Point on ysnlive.com, brought to you as always by our good friends over at Greenwood Chevrolet in Austintown. Anthony Hartwig with you. And we just heard from head coach of the Springfield Tigers, John Mattizi. Great program that he's running in his second year. He's already got them undefeated in the MVAC and just a 2-loss team overall as we head towards the second half of MVAC Scarlet Tier play. Still got big games again with the second round of Waterloo, second round of Western Reserve. So big games ahead for Springfield, and obviously he talked about some of the big non-conference games they still have left on their slate as well, starting Saturday with South Range. So a great chance to talk with him. Hopefully you enjoyed that interview. If not, you can find it a little bit later on our YouTube page and our website as well. But we're going to stick with Springfield. It's senior It's senior night, so we're going to stick with Springfield and go with one of their seniors, JC Mullen, and we're going to hear from her. I hope you enjoyed this interview. I was able to get it last night. Great talk with JC and one of the great basketball players we have in the area and a great leader as well. Enjoy this conversation with Springfield senior JC Mullen. Anthony Hartwig here with a Springfield girls basketball player profile. I am joined by JC Mullen, one of the leaders of this Tigers team. JC, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today.
Thank you for having me.
I mean, you've been a staple for this team for a while, but now it seems like you've taken the next step in responsibility and leadership. What's that kind of been like this year, knowing that there's more responsibilities on your shoulder to be not just a statistical leader, but also an energetic leader and an emotional one as well?
I think that coming up being a senior this year, it gives a lot of our seniors a lot of responsibility, but I feel like it's something that we don't really need together as a team. I feel like we have a lot of vocal leaders coming from the younger kids too, and energy wise. So I think it just, in hard games and hard times, we might need a bit of that just spurt of energy or the kind of vocal leader, but I don't feel like it's something that we've been lacking.
You've had the chance to play with so many great seniors in your career, and you've been able to watch them lead this team. Who are some of the leaders that you've had in your past that have taught you what it means to be a leader and helped you get to where you are now?
I think the seniors that we've had the past couple of years have really, they've been helpful, and they've kind of showed what responsibilities you have, especially when you're a senior. So I think going back to them, they've kind of just paved the way for the responsibilities that you need to take on when you are a senior.
What were the feelings like this summer when the reality kind of dawned on you that you were a senior now and those responsibilities were going to be on your shoulder, and now you had to be the one that leads the team?
It was just funny. I realized, it's your last season in high school. So basically you just have to realize that you have to have fun. And I think one of the things that especially in my game that I've improved this year, is just having more energy. So I think coming into the off season, I knew that I was going to try to bring more energy than I have in previous years.
Senior year brings a lot of last first game, last game against this team, last time you're able to play on that home court. How have you handled the emotions that come with all these last times that senior year brings?
I don't think anything's been too emotional yet. We have senior night on Thursday, so I think that'll probably start a few of it. But I'm just trying to enjoy the last season that I get with all these younger kids, and so I'm gonna try to enjoy it and not be too sad about it ending.
In the past, senior nights have always been like the last home game. That's always going to be senior night. Now we start to see more and more teams have it, a little bit past the midpoint, but you still got games to go. What do you think that's going to be like, knowing that it's senior night and having to feel all those emotions, but also knowing you still got games left, you still got plenty of season left as well?
I think it's going to help a lot with our emotional side of it, just because us knowing that it's not the last time ever that we're going to play here is definitely it's going to calm us down a little bit. And knowing that like we still have a bunch of season left to play, I think it'll just help everyone come to terms with, it is your senior year, but you've still got a lot of time left.
Let's rewind to last year. You guys win a district championship, head down to Perry for the regionals. Probably, the first exposure to that stage for this team. What was that like, and how much did you take from that into this year and trying to get back there?
I think like collectively as a team, we take a lot of that into how we want to play and the competition level that later in the season we'll be getting up against. One of the motivators has definitely been to get back there, to do it again, and obviously have a little bit better of an outcome. So I think it's just been a huge motivation seeing that we have the potential, and now we got to work on it every day in order to keep working to get back there.
How hungry did falling short at regionals make you to get back and to make this season one where you can get back to that stage?
Yeah, it was a big motivation. I know for me, it was something that it was like a surreal feeling knowing that it was, the first team in a while that's been there. And we fell pretty short in that regional game. So it's definitely something that I know I and the rest of our team have been really looking forward to getting back to.
How have you shared that with some of the new faces on this team or the players that are stepping into a varsity role, a bigger varsity role? Share that hunger that maybe they didn't get from playing in that game last year, that like, hey, this is the standard that we need to meet.
Luckily, we only lost 2 seniors last year, so majority of our players they were able to play in that regional game. So I think that most of them, they know the importance of it, but I think like they also realize that, especially for the older kids, it could be the last time. It could be the last time with this group. I think just realizing that it's kind of like it's a one shot this year that we got to get it done. I think that really motivates people.
As we keep talking about you being a senior and you being a leader, one of the hallmarks of seniors is how they leave the program. And that's why we ask all of the seniors, who were the seniors of the past that led you? What are you doing to make sure that you leave your legacy and you make sure that this program is sustained after you graduate?
I think coming up the last year and this year, the atmosphere of the energy has changed, which is something that new coaching and a lot of new players brought in. I think that's one thing that we can leave with this team is that, you can have off nights, you can have rough nights, but your team's going to surround you, and the energy that will be in the gym every night is it's going to get you through it.
Next year, when we're interviewing the new leaders of this team and we ask them maybe what JC Mullen taught them and what they took away from being one of your teammates, what would you hope the answer would be to that?
Probably just have fun. I try to make things as, especially the last season, I hope they just had fun.
All right, you talked about new coaches. Obviously, John Mattizi came in last year and made a lot of changes to this team. What's it been like, having him at the helm of this program, and what have you learned from Coach Mattizi?
I think it's really good for this program. Both the Mattizis put in a lot of time, and you could tell that they're really dedicated to it, and they have the best. They have like the best plan for the game in play. Something I've learned is that they're both really dedicated to the program. So it's amazing to see how an outside force can affect, the whole team and the program so much.
You look at that coaching family, and obviously Coach Matizzi's father did so much, and he's still doing so much. Does that carry a little bit of respect, knowing that him and his brothers and his dad all really are really good coaches, and they all know kind of what they're talking about?
Yeah, it definitely does, especially the first, I think, freshman and sophomore year. Coach Matisse was at McDonald, and they had a really strong team. So I think him coming in here and being able to show us, like, I know what I'm talking about, and having the family to back it up, it puts a lot of respect on them.
You've played McDonald twice now this year, so we can ask this. Be honest, does your coach Matisse get a little bit more fired up for that game, knowing that his dad's on the other side?
I think you have to. I think the competition level is just, I know for me personally, I would have to if I was playing against my dad. I think he does really well not to show it, but we were asking him before the game, and he said he tries to just, keep it as like a regular league game and everything.
That might be a game that he gets fired up about. What about you? Who are some teams that you really like to play and you really get energetic when you see them on the other side of the floor?
I think the two of the tough teams in our league, Waterloo and Western Reserve, are some of our motivators. When we play them, you got to get fired up, or you're not going to have a good night when you go against those two teams.
And we know that you play a lot of travel basketball, AAU. You have the chance to play with so many great athletes in your own right in the off season. Who's your best friend that doesn't wear the Springfield uniform?
I'll probably say Sophia Hook is the best player that I play with in the off season. Seeing what she's able to do in Brookfield and with her own team, it's crazy. She's a kid that she works hard every night, and it shows.
What is, playing with so many great players on your team in the offseason and then playing against so much good talent in the offseason really do for you as a player? And how has it helped you grow throughout your career?
I think not only just the practice makes you better, it teaches you how to play with different kids who have different backgrounds and everything. So it'll help when you're playing with some of the younger kids that are on your team. Just being able to get that experience of how other players do play and how they think about things, it helps you become a better teammate.
Watching this team already this year, we can tell there's a little bit more of physicality to them. Like you're a little bit more mean this year. You'll push people around a little bit. Do you think that's one of the main things that you talked about this year, trying to be more physical with every team you play?
Yeah, it definitely was. I feel like last year we lacked that a little bit, and in the high intensity physical games, it definitely did show. So this year we worked on coming out stronger and just overall, being stronger together.
What was that like for you, trying to build a physical mindset and trying to always be in that attack aggressive mentality every night on the floor?
I feel like it's something that it takes a lot of work to just try to be physical, like for the entirety of the game. But when you look back at it, it's something that really does pay off. So I think the motivation is, it's hard right now, but in the end, it's gonna work towards your favor.
Obviously, with senior year, we have to talk about your future too, some of the future plans that you have. What are some goals that you see yourself accomplishing in the next few years after high school, where you want to see yourself?
I'm not really sure where I'm looking to go to school yet, but I am looking to just further my education and really make that one of my main focuses. And I'm going to try to play wherever I go. So I think education is definitely number one, and just being able to get through that.
When you think about kind of what education you want to go into and what things you want to do you have anywhere that you're leaning of what you want to start learning about in college?
Every school that I've toured, it's either been accounting in the business management or engineering.
All right, so we talk a lot about athletes and the inspiration on the court. Who has been some of your inspirations in the school world and some of the teachers that have really helped you along the way and really taught you how to be a better student?
I think coming from a small school, especially in this area. The school is just so connected. I don't think anyone in particular you can put the not the blame, but like the credit to. I think just coming from this small school, the sense of community that everyone is able to bring, it just that's something that will stick with you.
Let's get to know you a little bit off the floor with some rapid fire questions before we let you out of here. First one I got for you is, if you could have any animal as a pet, no matter like exotic, doesn't matter, what animal would you want to have?
I've always wanted a pig since I was a kid, but I don't have one, so that's got to be it.
Like, since you've always wanted, have you already picked out a name for a pig that if you get it, like, I know I'm going to name it this?
I haven't, but I think I gotta find one out.
All right. What is some of the New Year's resolutions you had, or the things that you want to do a little bit better into 2023, since we're just barely into the new year?
Definitely I'm trying to get more focused on the college journey and just, improving my education. Obviously, we have some small basketball goals and just finishing the season off, but I think those are definitely main two.
I know you're an athlete and you like to eat healthy and keep your body right, but what are some desserts that kind of catch your sweet tooth every now and then?
Probably ice cream. Yeah, I really like ice cream. It's definitely one of my favorites.
Do you have a favorite flavor?
Cookie dough.
There you go. Where? Like Handles? Are we talking Briarwood? Where's the best ice cream?
It's definitely Handles, yeah.
Got it. What makes you proud to be a Springfield Tiger and proud to represent that school system?
Once again, I think it's just the sense of community and how it just brings everyone together is something that it's something that you're proud to be a part of in the moment, and then even after, that like you came from a small community, that they're gonna have your back.
If we gave you a time machine, would you want to go forward in time or would you want to go back into the past?
I would have to say back into the past.
Where would you want to go? Like, what time period would be cool to go check out?
I feel like maybe the 90s or like the late 80s would be cool, just to see how different the culture was, especially for like when my parents grew up.
All right. If you could have a dinner with anybody, living or dead, any celebrity, it could be a celebrity, it could be someone that maybe is this local that you haven't had the chance to get to know. Who would you want to have a dinner with?
Oh, that's a good one. I would probably say, it's a weird answer, Post Malone. He's definitely my favorite artist, so I think that would just be cool.
All right, you get one question with him though, and what's the one thing you would want to know if you got one question with Post Malone?
Probably just, what started it all, what made you have the realization that that's what I'm gonna do, and even if it's a long shot, what's the motivation?
I'm going to flip that on you. What started it all for you? When did you start taking basketball really seriously and you started to realize that you had a really big love for the sport?
I think it started when I was really young. My older sister, she's 4 years older than me. My dad would take me to their practices and stuff, and just being able to like see what they're doing. And I know that some of the times they would let me do the drills with them. I think that's really where it started. Just, getting the early on experience, that definitely, set the stage for basketball for me.
All right, JC, before we let you go, I want to give you the chance to shout out your support system, all the people that have been there for you throughout your career, and all the people that you couldn't do this without.
Definitely just my family and my friends, especially my parents and my sisters and grandparents and everything like that.
All right, JC, thank you so much for taking the time to join us today. We wish you the best of luck going forward, and we can't wait to talk to you again real soon.
Thank you.
JC Mullen from Springfield, one of their fantastic seniors, joining us, and what a great conversation that was with her. And she has her senior night tonight. So do the other three seniors from Springfield, and we wanted to take another chance and give everybody down there a shout out. Make sure you get out to Springfield for senior night as they take on Sebring. That is one of many games happening tonight on the network. Let's preview what you can watch tonight on ysnlive.com/live. So let's run down these games real quick. before we say arrivederci until tomorrow. For those of you that don't know, that is goodbye in Italian. So Badger will travel to Ashtabula St. John, and Matt Morrison will have the call for you there. That's a 5:30 tip-off. That'll be the first game on the network tonight as we get ready for the slate. Brookfield travels to Liberty. This will be a 6 o'clock tip. Big one in the MVAC grade tier. Brookfield and Garfield and Crestview are all tied with one loss, and Liberty's right there below them with 2. So this one's a big one for the Leopards and the Warriors. And it'll be in Liberty. Alec Caberna will be on the call for you there. Once again, Springfield hosting Sebring on senior night. Jamie Thompson will have the call for them there. Garrettsville Garfield hosting Campbell Memorial. Their school will have that one covered for you. 7 o'clock tip. We have Hubbard at Struthers. Once again, the school crew has you covered for that NE8 matchup as Struthers tries to bounce back from their loss to Liberty on Monday. Excuse me. Jefferson will travel to the Thriller Dome at South Range as it tries to make really 2 great games in a row in the Thriller Dome. South Range will host Jefferson. 7 o'clock is your tip-off time. I will be there on the call for the Raiders. Mineral Ridge heads to McDonald. That's a 7 o'clock start time as well. Matt Marr will be on the call there. Southern at Wellsville is video only at 7 o'clock tonight on the girls' side. United at Latonia, Chris Sigler will be on the call for that one. Valley Christian and East Palestine, DJ Yoakley will have you covered at 7 o'clock for that one. Waterloo at Western Reserve, Ty Bartell. That's a big game in the MVAC Scarlet tier as we talk about teams that are trying to nip the heels of Springfield right behind them. Western Reserve 2 games back. Waterloo just that 1 game back. Only loss in the conference coming to Springfield for the Vikings. So that should be a fun one down in Western Reserve. Carrollton will be at Beaver Local tonight. Michael McKenzie on the call. McNuggies. Good one there. Champion, a rejuvenated Champion team that's getting healthy, will travel to Crestview as they try to knock off the Rebels. It'll be Larry Scragg on the call there. Niles will be at Poland. Ian O'Brien on the call for you there from the Poland Fieldhouse. Gerard travels to Lakeview. Our Lakeview crew has you covered there. And then also on the network tonight at 6 o'clock, it'll be Fairport Harding at Wyndham, and the school has you covered that time there. Some other games on the girls basketball slate that are happening. 7 p.m. Edison will be hosting Heartland Christian. LeBray hosts Newton Falls, and then Warren JFK will host Rootstown at 5:30. Those are your slates of games for tonight. Keep tuned to ysnlive.com/live for any time changes or schedule changes or anything like that. But luckily, in the last several weeks, we've been staying away from a big number of cancellations. I remember in that couple first weeks of the season, we had like a week where we had I think 20 games canceled. So it wasn't looking good, but now we've kind of righted the path, and we have most days completely filled with green as far as the green lights to play. So that's always a good sign. Is one of the games I'm really looking forward to tonight. A lot of people will say Brookfield and Liberty, and a lot of people will probably also say Waterloo at Western Reserve. There's going to be 2 good games, but I'm keeping an eye on this Champion team that's going to Crestview because, like I said, and I told it to Scotty last week when he asked me. No, actually, it was in the comment section this week. All these days, someone in the comment section on Tuesday asked me what girls team, that had maybe doesn't have the best record, can really start to make a run. And Champion was one of those teams on the list because of the fact they're getting healthy. They were hit by the injury bug a lot in the first half of the season. People are starting to come back on the roster. And remember, preseason, they were one of the favorites in the MVAC grade tier to compete because they were right there last year. They brought back a lot of players. They just got hurt. So despite the record, I would not take this Champion team lightly. And I keep thinking that they're a team that can throw a monkey wrench into one of these teams' seasons in the MVAC. Will it happen tonight? I have no idea. Crestview's a really good team. Obviously, they're going to be prepared. But Champion, you got to watch out for him. Garfield only beat him by 3, and that was with still trying to get healthy champion. So now Addy Warzalo's back in the mix. They have a couple more players back in the mix as well. They're starting to get healthy. Obviously, they have Bella Meyer, who has just been putting the world on fire this year, scoring and trying to carry that team when they were hurt. So champion going to Crestview, second half of the MVAC. Can the Flashes knock somebody off and make that picture a little bit more clear? They'll have Liberty and Garfield ahead on their schedule as well, and Brookfield. So all those teams still have to go and play champion a second time. And this is the first one of those teams, vying for a championship right now that has to play champion. So I am kind of looking at that game, as well as the other ones are obvious, right? So I was trying to pick a game that wasn't obvious, that people are maybe a little bit under the radar, maybe an under radar game tonight. And I'm looking at that champion Crestview as the one that's a little bit under the radar for the night. ysnlive.com/live is where you can find all those games. We want to push you there. And also, while you're watching them, you want to check the scores of another game, head over to ysnlive.com/scores. You can find all the live scoreboard there. And then after the game, if you want to see how that's going to affect the standings, head over to ysnlive.com/standings, as we have that completely updated as well. Every conference that one of our YSN teams is involved in is in there for standings and where your team kind of lies. So there's plenty of ways to get involved tonight. You watch the game, you keep an eye on the other scores, and then after the game, you check in on the standings and see what the results did as far as conference standings. So going to be a fun one. We'll be back tomorrow from 1 to 2 with Ty Bartell, and we'll recap tonight's action. We'll preview the big weekend ahead and a lot more on tomorrow's episode of Running Point with Ty. Should be a fun one. Check us out tomorrow from 1 to 2. Power Hour today from 3 to 4, and then a bunch of basketball games on the network tonight as well. Have fun tonight. Stay safe, as always, and thank you so much for tuning in to Running Point, brought to you by Greenwood Chevrolet in Austin.